Welcome to the Divorce Dad Playbook podcast. I'm Dan Levy.
I'm Scott Levy.
And I think as people might have seen, Nicole Ananda, you were actually on the screen while I was talking. Like, this is how the show started. This is the best show beginning ever where I look like you. How are you?
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm good. I'm feeling a little frisky today. So I wanted to apologize to Scott in advance because you're going to have to deal with two crazy people.
Are you feeling frisky because there's a cat behind you? There's literally a cat watch behind you.
Yeah. Yes, my cat's going nuts too.
Also feeling frisky.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of frisky, before we get to, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but it's going to be so much fun. But theme song, right? So Scott, we build this up pretty good. I said I had a theme song. Went a little different direction with it. Same song, different.
Wait.
Nope, too late. We're playing it.
I like it. Get on up. I like it. Get on up. Get on the scene. Like a sex machine. Get on the scene.
Instead of James Brown.
Like a love machine.
That is Jad Fair, who was from the old punk band Half Japanese. And I found that, and there we go. That's your theme song. Hello, Nicole. How are you?
That was better before you played that weird song.
Well, I thought like it would be.
It's not weird to Dan. And that's what makes this so good.
It was weird. It was weird, but I figured like I could just go Sex Machine. What last time we did? Let's talk about sex, right? That was the theme song the time you were on the last time. I think it was episode 5. For people who haven't seen you, go back and listen to that show. This will be better because Scott's here too. We can make fun of him, but that was one of our best shows. And so I thought, like, let me just change it up a little bit. I'm not going to do like a generic sex song. So I found this, and there we are.
Okay.
Sorry.
I don't think we spend time making fun of me as much as you make fun of yourself. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
I do. Like, I will say, Dan, one thing, and we didn't know this. No. This wasn't planned because Nicole didn't even hear the last show, presumably, but she showed up.
Oh, he sent it to me late last night, and I listened to it this morning.
Is that why you're wearing the GNR t-shirt?
No, I didn't hear.
See?
What?
It's already flowing. I love it. GNR.
Was there something in that I missed?
I told you to go because I knew you didn't have time. I told you to skip ahead to the part where we talked about you coming on. Right previous to that, we talked about how I had a jean jacket in 5th grade. That was a Guns N' Roses jean jacket. It was like right before.
Oh my God. Yeah, here we go.
All right. Oh,
that's hilarious. I heard you're excited to meet me too, Scott.
That I'm excited to meet you?
No, intrigued.
Oh, I'm super intrigued, of course. I mean, again, I also listened to your first part of your podcast that you joined us earlier on, and Dan speaks so highly of you often. So
right. Enough with the loving each other. Let's get to some questions.
What do you mean? This is what we're talking. This is what the episode is all about.
The episode is there's got to be structure. Look at this. I have like a lot of questions to get to, and you know we're belaboring. I do want to start with this though, if you both will indulge. Both of you at different times during the last week have said to me, what app should I go on? I'm frustrated with the apps that I've been on. I know Scott has issues with Match. Nicole, you've had issues with Bumble and things like that. I think you and I met on Bumble actually, but it's one of those things where I recommended Hinge to both of you just because I feel like that is a little bit more effort to put into trying to match with someone. But it's funny how I think you guys are both very different, and yet in listening to the two of you, you kind of want the same thing. So Nicole, can you? I'll start with you on this one. Like, can you just sort of talk about like what frustrations have you had, and like in difficulty finding someone who you're looking for, and you seem very open and very honest about what you want, and yet you still find it difficult to find someone to match with that.
Yes, I'm so sorry. This guy cries if he's in here. He cries.
Oh, he's fine.
It's
like Scott,
honestly
just whining all the time. It's fine.
Okay, let me just put him out real quick. I think maybe he wants to leave. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
No, this is good. We're good.
Bye. Next, it will be the trash truck.
We have all kinds of background stuff that, you know, Dan makes me stay very, very focused. So it's I'm
professional, so I have nothing. Like I just have like a cool little set behind me.
A whining pussy in the background does not affect our ability to...
This is too early.
Oh, no.
Somebody feels empowered to talk dirty today.
I have that effect on people.
Yes.
Anyway, so dating apps. No,
Yeah.
but seriously, Nicole, so I mean, look, again, this is the issue that Scott and I talk about all the time, which is put out there what you want, put out there who you are, and that will attract the type of person you want. But you do that. I know that you do that, and you still struggle with it sometimes. So how is that? How are you handling that now that you're sort of back on the scene, so to speak?
Well, it's like looking for a needle in a haystack, I think, because I want something that is like a very tiny, tiny sliver of the population. I want someone who is very intelligent and intellectual, but also funny with a dirty sense of humor and doesn't take themselves too seriously. Right there, that's hard to find. I also have had trouble finding, at least in America, a man who can outman me, right? So I'm not manly, but I am very assertive and confident and kind of, I know what I want. And I don't want somebody just yesing me and going along. I want someone to push back and challenge me. And it's hard to find that. That is very difficult to find. And I don't know, I seem to match with a lot of very young guys. Like a guy 20 years younger than me just messaged me on
Really?
Hinge. Yes.
Really?
And the reason I responded to him
Good for
actually
you.
was because his message was hilarious. And he used the periodic table to spell out, "You have nice cans." So I couldn't help.
Okay.
I know.
Science.
Yeah, exactly. But periodic table. So that got me, but I'm not going to meet him. I mean, that's just a little.
By the way, I just want to point this out. I can do like a shit ton of pull-ups. So if you're really looking for somebody to outman you, like it'd be close. I don't think emotionally I can outman you, but like physically I might be able to take you.
That's not
Like-
what she was talking about at all.
I know what she was talking about. That's why I was making the joke. That's why it was a joke. I was being funny and clever.
Yikes.
So basically the joke, Nicole, is that I said to both of you separately, like you're looking for what Scott thinks he is, and what Scott thinks he wants is you, if you're just too far away from each other. So geography does come into it. You said in America, like 2 hours is a distance. And that's one of those things where if you find someone, they might not even be in your area. Well, it's not that funny.
Wait, no,
What
it's
he thinks he is and what he thinks he wants.
you're the worst. You're the worst matchmaker ever. A, B. I know what I want. I just might not be able to find it. As Nicole was saying, that I might not be able to find it. And I think to Nicole's point of what I believe she meant, not you doing pull-ups, is I feel, and this is more about you, Nicole, not about me, but I feel like oftentimes I inadvertently intimidate women. And I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just sometimes I have like a dominating personality, and I do take charge. And I think that sometimes is like a little bit scary for a lot of women, in my experience.
Interesting. Yes, I've had trouble meeting men who are in any way dominant or take charge, which is honestly boring.
Right?
Yeah.
If I step out, do you guys need some time?
By the way, I thought you were stepping out anyway, so I was planning
Yeah,
on just
I had
having
a
a whole
doctor's-
conversation with Nicole. Like, what are you?
No,
what
I
are you
had a
doing
doctor's
here?
appointment. I had a doctor's appointment inadvertently scheduled for the exact time we were going to do this, and I was going to step out like 10 minutes in, but I was able to change that around. Thank God, because this is just off the rails already. So I mean, we just like this is like giving me an absolute panic attack that we're just like not like there's like a list of questions I have, and I need to ask those questions. We have a time limit. Like it's just like I'm freaking out. No, Scott, the reason I said, and Nicole, I want to ask you sort of to tell me if I'm wrong, because Scott and I talk about this all the time. But the reason I said, Scott, I think you know what you want, and we discussed this off air. So this is the first time we're talking about it while we're recording, is you're putting out there the presentation of you. But what you're getting back a lot of times is not someone like Nicole, who is confident and fully formed and looking for something similar. You're a fixer. So you're getting people who, like me, are damaged and look at someone like you and aspire to that. You're in that part where you're the fire truck. You're not the guy rebuilding the house or whatever the example is. Like you're there to put out the fire, not to deal with it afterwards. And Nicole, so that's why I was making fun of Scott a little bit, but that's why I said he thinks he knows what he wants. How do you differentiate that? Like, how do you put it out there that you're ready for something, but you don't want to be a project for someone else? You want that person who's ready as well.
I don't know. You tell me. I have not had any success I put it out there, but I think most people who are a project don't realize they're a project. And they often present themselves, or they think that they've got it together. I mean, you are a very rare, self-aware person. And that's actually why I matched with you, not necessarily because I felt like we were going to be
You
dating.
keep saying that. Like,
I know,
you keep
because
bringing up the fact that I wasn't going to date you, but
well, I mean, you know, because you put it out there, I'm a project, but I felt like, wow, this guy's fucking ooh, can I say fuck?
you're good. At this point, ship sail.
This
We're
guy's
explicit.
all right. This guy's self-aware and he's being completely honest, and that's refreshing. So I want to know this guy. I don't know if I want to date this guy because I already spend my life every day working on projects, and that's what I get paid for, right? So in my personal life, I'd rather I'm someone else's project. Not that I need to be, but you know,
Right.
I need some kind of switch up. So I don't know. I mean, I put it out there, and then people are not self-aware like you are. So they come in thinking I'm that guy, and they're just not.
I'm
Wait,
glad that I did find that
so
out.
Dan, hold
Go
on.
ahead.
This whole show is going to freak you out, so just be prepared because I have questions. I have questions,
Oh my God.
and like
Go ahead.
we're gonna go. We're gonna go.
Thanks
a
for
little
telling me in
off
advance and preparing that, but that's good. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Other
it's all
questions?
good. So Nicole, that's really interesting to me because I understand because again, the female version, not as much as Dan, because Dan is really has some things going on, but I probably do sort of become more attracted to people that need a little fixing because it's like easy for me to do, and then I feel like all right, then I'm building somebody up to this point where they're good, they're like equal with me, and I think that that's important. So I'm curious, like, what are you putting out there?
Wait, have you ever built someone up to where they're equal with you? That has never
No,
worked.
obviously I'm still out on the dating apps, like
No.
clearly it
That's
doesn't
very
work.
Doesn't
codependent.
work.
Yeah. How
It
do you
doesn't
it's
work. No,
codependent like crazy? Yeah.
Newsflash. Yeah, that does not work.
Right. No. I've learned that, again, I've been out here for 8 years. So I've learned over time what I've done and what clearly doesn't work. If I did it right, like we wouldn't have a podcast basically if I've done this right. So to me, that's why I'm interested, for someone like you, which is relatively like probably more of the type of person that I should be with and I should be at least dating. What are you looking for? Like, what are you saying that you're looking for that's attracting a guy that's 20 years younger than you?
I don't think it matters what I say that I'm looking for. I think that's the point. I think half of them look at my picture and don't read my profile. I think, the majority of them just want to fuck me. Like it doesn't feel
As
like
one does.
right. And I have no judgment against that, but it makes it a lot harder for me to parse out the people who are actually serious about getting to know someone and possibly having a relationship. So
Right.
yeah, I don't think what I put out there has any impact at all on what comes back to me on dating apps, at least.
So that's really interesting because Dan would attest to this, that I of course I look at the visuals like anybody does, and that is like the first bit of attraction on a dating app. It's super gamified, as Dan and I have talked about, time and time again. But I do read what people write. So if we were playing this scenario out and I were to see you on a dating app, I would read your profile. Not only would I read your profile, I would match with you. And then Dan says, and he makes fun of me sometimes about this, that I would interview you. And I'm not really interviewing you. I'm actually just asking you pointed questions to see if we are actually not just physically attracted to one another, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever we need. Like, how does that work? And so that's where I go. I quickly try and get off the apps with somebody that I think has potential. And I engage in texting, phone conversation, FaceTime, just because this time, like, I can't meet people out as quickly. And that's how I try and find more out. That's how I find more about somebody and see if that connection does exist. And Dan and I've had this debate over time and somebody wrote in, I don't remember what this was, Dan, that somebody wrote in and said, like, it's impossible to find chemistry, through this process. And I just disagreed. I think that you can.
Well, yeah, I talked to somebody about that, and they said basically that it was me that said it was impossible because they were trying to sort of force chemistry. Like, I'm looking for chemistry, and my whole point is like, if she's telling me she's looking for chemistry, then you've already ruined the experiment. You're like telling me what you want to find at the end of the experiment, it skews the entire experiment. Nicole, your face is telling me I'm an idiot.
I heard that and I thought that you were just full of shit. I think if you're looking, everyone's looking for chemistry, and it either comes or it doesn't. You can't force it, but you can be honest about that's something that's important to you.
All right, so here, can I just, I'm going to interject on this because that's an interesting point. And I guess what I'm saying is chemistry is such a nebulous term, right? Chemistry is, I'm looking for someone who matches my needs, who matches my wants and desires. And we fit together in a certain way. There was a person, I think it was on Hinge actually, who matched with me this morning. I picked up my phone and said, oh, you have a match. I looked at it. She had in her bio that she really enjoys crafting. She makes like stickers and notes for people and sends them in the mail. That is exactly what I told my kids I wanted to start doing. Send little stickers like you are a good person and just mail them to people that we know who are good people. Like I literally said that 3 days ago. And I'm like, this woman is perfect. Well, guess what? All her pictures were like her looking over her shoulder or her all leaning up against a fence. And I'm thinking to myself, like, why not take a picture of you at a freaking craft table showing me the thing that I would be interested in you doing? Now, again, so all I had to do was read her stuff and then look at her pictures. And it was two separate conversations. I'm not attracted to her physically. I probably would be a good friend. I have enough friends. Swipe left.
Yeah. Well, not everybody is thinking about, curating their dating profile while they're taking pictures. They're taking a picture when they're out somewhere doing something. I mean, I don't know if I'm crafting or doing whatever, I'm playing my violin or something. I'm not like, oh, I should get a picture of this right now.
But that's what I'm trying to tell people. This is how you have to relearn that. Yeah, you put out there what you want. And so you're expecting people, like you said, some 24-year-old guy or 25-year-old guy, whatever he is. I don't want to make him too young.
26.
Jeez. 26-year-old guy, good for you again, is like tries to match with you because he thinks he could hook up with you. But there are so many other facets to you as a human that he didn't get to see in that because he was focused on the visuals and probably didn't read 2/3 of your stuff.
Clearly not. Well, you don't really get to put much in there either. So this was on Hinge, which you suggested for me.
Do I get a finder's fee if you actually date him?
Yikes.
Yeah, if I actually find someone there, sure, I will do something really nice for you. But
send them some stickers.
I am a good person. I don't need a sticker.
I like to make postcards actually and cut out people's like either their picture or their head and put it on things and put like captions from cartoons and things.
See, that's not in your dating profile.
I don't know. I mean,
but you can get to that. But you can get to that if you actually engage her and talk about stuff. That was my point.
Scott. But the point is that she's
dating profile. No, Dan,
you've been doing this long enough.
You're not giving people a chance. That's the problem. You're not giving people a chance. Like you're making an assumption based off of like three sentences and a few pictures, and you're just ruling people in and ruling people out. And what I'm saying is, you have to take it off app, and you need to engage to see if there's chemistry. You're right. You can't force chemistry on a dating app photo and a little bit of text, but you can actually have chemistry if somebody writes something. They're not all as cerebral as you are.
I feel like I match with more people. I guarantee you I match with more people than you percentage wise of the number of things I see. I feel like I'm more open to that. I disagree with you, Scott. I think what I'm doing is I'm allowing people to show me who they are through conversation or through, I'm not judging it. But Nicole, to go back to the point, like, again, I'm not saying you should put a thing of you like doing crafts or whatever. That might not be what you wanted, but like the violin thing, absolutely. Like if you can connect your visuals to the words, to the prompts that you have in there, to what you want and need, then it's all cohesive. And I think not enough people do that. That's what we're trying to teach people how to do. So yes, to answer your question before, yeah, I do think that if you're playing your violin, you should be like, oh shit, let me go get my kid to take a picture of me because this would be a good picture. Maybe not for your dating profile, but say for your Instagram. And then it happens to show up on your dating profile. You don't have to tell your kids like, hey, you're going to snap some shots of me so I can find a man. Like, I get that. That might be weird.
They weigh in on, they actually said the last guy, they were like, he's not the guy. He's not, you're going to get bored of him and he's not strong enough for you. And they're so incredibly in tune.
That's great. See, Dan, that's what I was saying too. I get it.
But can we go back to this interview thing? Because I think that would be so refreshing for someone to actually ask me relevant questions and want to know about my life and get to know me.
Right.
Because mostly I get, hey, or something stupid. And then I feel like I'm carrying the entire conversation. I ask them questions or I answer their questions. And they're just, I mean, I think there are just a lot of people out there who maybe don't know how to have a conversation. And it also makes it a lot more difficult if you're intelligent. I'm looking for someone who's intelligent and intellectual. And I'm not asking them to have like a 140 IQ like me, but it's not going to work.
Damn, somebody threw that down.
Yeah.
Well, because you know what? When you're in the top 1%, it sucks. Honestly, I would much rather be average because I'd have such a giant pool of people. I know I sound like a narcissist right now, but I don't really mean it
100%,
that
it's amazing.
way.
I love it. I
It's
love this so much.
It's just it sucks, right? Because it's so much harder to find someone who can be my equal and meet me where I am.
By the way, Nicole, Scott doesn't have to worry about that. So he has no idea what you're talking about right now with the being smarter than everyone else in the room. So I'm just letting you know. This is like a me and you conversation that we're having right now. He's just smiling.
I certainly know what a narcissist is, Dan.
No, as I told my ex, I'm not a narcissist. I have borderline personality disorder. It's different. I'm diagnosed something. And she said,
It often looks the same though. Yes.
and yeah, I'm not going to say what she said.
Yeah.
Response to that.
Yeah.
Are you
Well,
sure you're not borderline though, right? You're just joking.
No.
Really?
I think he's over the line.
Really? Well, okay.
Like it's like a pinch of borderline. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
not like it to see it. And you know, it's funny because people who know about borderline, like get freaked out sometimes, and then you have to sort of walk it back and explain, like, well, how long have you known me? I need everything to be about me. I need to be the center of attention. And when I'm not, I get anxious. You two were talking about stuff that I didn't have written down and I almost threw up under my desk. Like, think about it. Like it's a similar feeling. I'm not going to like derail everything and make you feel bad about yourself because I've worked really hard on trying not to be like that. But yeah, I mean, the thought was like, shit, we're not. Yeah.
You're more like histrionic, maybe, not borderline. You don't borderline is one of, if not the, like, almost up there with schizophrenic, like one of the most intractable and difficult to treat, mental illnesses. And I don't know, you don't strike me as borderline. Nothing about you since I've known you fits the 9 criteria of borderline personality. But that's a whole other conversation we can have.
Let's do that. Let's do that another time. I don't want to like sell you on it. I've literally been told by clinicians that and my ex that I have it and I am. So like, I'm going to go with them and work on it. I mean, I'm happy not to be, but at least I just give people the heads up when it happens, because like you said, I'm honest about stuff. And if that's going to scare somebody off, Scott, that's what I'm talking about with the interview process. Like, I learned a lot I went out with somebody the other day and I learned a lot, but I didn't go in with like it's just in the natural course of conversation. I picked up a lot of the information that I think you're getting as well. I just feel like sometimes people go in with a checklist. Like, all right, how many kids do you have? Or how long have you been divorced? And then it's like, well, that doesn't fit. I need somebody who's been divorced 4 years or longer because,
but Dan, you think the way that you think, and you have this sort of like tunnel vision part of it. I think what Nicole, and I'm glad that Nicole is intrigued and agreeing with me that this process that I go through, it's not so scripted. It's just engaging. That's what it is. It's finding out if it's I say interview questions with quotes around it. Obviously, it's not like a checklist. I don't send them like a form and say, okay, cool, we matched, fill this out, and then let's see if we should like move this to, the next level. It's not that at all. It's actually just engaging, finding out more about them. Yes, of course, it's all part of it. Like, how are you supposed to actually connect with somebody if you don't know anything about them? Then it's just purely physical.
Mm-hmm.
And that, as I've learned, and I'd like to take this to the point where Nicole is more the expert on this than certainly you or I are, Dan. I feel like that physical part fades fast. Like it can last for a night. It can last for a few weeks. It can maybe even stretch itself out to like a few months. But if you are not connected mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like the physical stuff just really fades.
You mean it fades if it's only based on that? Or
if it's only based on that.
Okay.
If it's just that, like it just isn't enough.
It's unsustainable. I would agree.
Yes. Right.
So you can have fun for a little while, which admittedly, right, Dan, you've said you're up for anything, right? You're up for just meeting someone once or you're not looking for something specific. So you're there to have every adventure and experience.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is I mean, just what you said. If I have the experience is what it is. And after that, you have a feeling that lingers. Either you're like, well, that was fun and I enjoyed that, or that was terrible and I'm never going to do that again. And then what's the second part of that? So when you're done, I was actually thinking about this yesterday. If I went out with somebody the other day, and now I can't stop thinking about that person. And I thought, like, this is a good feeling to have, because now this moment in my life has become better because of that moment. It's not necessarily cumulative. It's just separate moments. And because I'm thinking about a previous moment, it's now making this one better. And that makes me want to hang out with that person again. And that's how I keep looking at it. So it's not necessarily like the weight of, I want this person to be my forever person. And I understand people are frustrated. You guys have been out there a lot longer than me doing this. So I get that. You get tired of this shit. But I try to really just take each thing individually. And I know you and I have talked about this, Nicole, and like, it's not easy to do, but when you can do it, you get something out of it. Now, obviously I know I learned this basically from you, but then it's not working for you because now you're back out there looking for somebody else again. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I gave one person a chance and it didn't work. It wasn't working for me. So yes, I mean, I definitely agree with what Esther Perel says, which is get off the app, right? When you find someone who you think could possibly be a match, then focus on that person to find out, because if you continue to allow yourself to be distracted by continuing to swipe and, you know, putting your attention in all different places, you will never be able to get the depth with that person that will tell you whether or not they are good for you. So you end up living on the surface in a very shallow place, spreading yourself too thin. So that's what I did. I went deep with one person, didn't work out. Now I'm back.
See, and Dan, this was like the theme song or video you did earlier in the week. I'm back, baby.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, look, I don't think I'm going to compare Nicole to Paul Newman. I mean, in terms of like style and like the allure, yeah, you're like the Paul Newman of sex therapists. But like, it's a weird thing to say, Scott. I mean, you're an old grizzled guy who's back on the scene. That was,
bro. I didn't say that she was Paul Newman.
She's more like Vivica A. Fox. Like,
I said she's back. That's it.
Getting her groove back.
Yeah, all right, why don't you, Dan? Why don't you steer the ship to where you want it to go? Because like, I could keep going, and I have a lot of questions for Nicole.
Please don't.
So I could just run with it, but I don't want you to be like super anxious. So
no, it's fine. This is the next question that I had. So I'm glad that we got to this point. And this is a question for both of you, but Nicole, I'd rather you start, because you and I have talked about this individually, and I'd like to sort of have this now on record. The whole idea of sex and emotion. And so if you have a physical connection with someone, why is it that funny? What did I do? That was
you said you put it on record.
Yeah, like I want to record it. So like so people can hear it. So it's not just like the two of us having a conversation. It's like can help other humans. Like that's why we're doing this, right? To help people, or we're just doing it to like derail my brain. Like it's
no, we're not derailing you at all. Her frisky pussy is like just really calling out.
Let me let that guy in again.
You're trying.
All right. Hopefully he'll be quiet now.
I hung out with somebody who shall definitely remain nameless, who like I felt was trying too hard, and it just made me uncomfortable. And that's the feeling I'm getting right now. Like you're trying too hard. Just be funny. Don't try to be funny. Anyway, back to the point. The difference between sex for the sake of having sex and sex that has an emotional connection. And what I have learned throughout this entire process is that more people have an emotional connection to sex than I think they are willing to admit early on. And it has gotten me in a little bit of trouble, because I think people develop a connection. You said this to me last time we talked on air, that you can sit in a room with somebody and in 5 minutes you can like feel like you love that person because you're very present and you're very connected. And I think that's part of the reason why the two of us have connected as we do, because I think both of us understand that feeling. And then you have sex with someone and you're just like, well, I have a good connection with you and we did that, two separate things. They look at it as, I have a good connection with you and we did that. And I'm like, fuck. And I've gotten in trouble that way. So like, do I have to be upfront about it? Like, by the way, I separate all of these different types of romance. Like, just because we have two of them doesn't mean that we have everything.
Well, I mean, my question to you would be why you do compartmentalize like that, and how? But I mean, that you're having sex with women, and women generally place meaning on sex. That means something to them because, we have to actually like open our bodies to somebody, and most people are using protection now, but without, like, we're actually carrying your DNA for the rest of our lives. It gets incorporated into our bodies.
Oh, it
Look
doesn't make
that
me
up.
feel awful. Don't
I
I
know,
don't want
right? So, and in Tantra and from a spiritual perspective, it's important for us to be very discerning and careful about whose energy we allow into ourselves. So if
But is it
someone,
though when you go out with somebody on a first date or a second date and you're like, honestly, like I hate to say this because it's like Pavlov's dog. Like if it keeps happening and then like I, I, I guess what I'm asking is it on me? Like, am I doing too good of a job on these first dates? I make a joke, like I'm a great first date. Am I too good of a first date? Because now all of a sudden I'm put in these situations where I feel people are connected too quickly. And I'm like, I don't have that feeling. Well, then why did, anyway.
I don't think it's on you. I mean, it's on all of us to hold our own boundaries and to make sure that we're aware of what this means if we're going to do it. I think a lot of people are not really that self-aware or have not reached that level of their maturity where they can do that. And so they end up kind of doing impulsive things or falling into something. And I've been there. I know what that's like. But yeah, this means something to them. So probably since you've had this conversation or this experience multiple times, you need to have some kind of disclaimer. Like if we're doing this, what does this mean to you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah.
You just
Before we
stamp
do
it on your
this,
forehead.
can you please sign this document just indicating the fact that I don't give a shit? No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
I do give a
no.
shit. No, I was joking. That was over the top. I do actually care. I mean, I'm not going to do something not just to do it. Like that's the good thing about where I am now as opposed to where I was like when we first matched. When we first matched, I was a mess and I just needed affirmation. I just needed anyone to tell me that I was a decent person or that I was likable. Now I don't need that. So I'm looking for something different. But at the same time, like I keep trying to tell people, like when there's nothing to do in a pandemic and everything closes at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I'm like, just come over. We can watch a movie or whatever. And they're like, oh no, I know what happens when you go over somebody's house. I'm like, I don't care about that. Like, that's not me. Like, if you want to come over and watch a movie, we'll watch a movie. Like, don't think that just because you're coming here, I'm either going to try and have sex with you or murder you. Like, those are the two things that everyone thinks is going to happen. And I'm not going to do
Well,
either of those unless you want to. The murder thing. I
those
wouldn't
things
do
do
either.
happen though. So the number one killer of women is men, right? The number one killer of men is heart disease. So we do need to be careful because we could walk into a situation that's unsafe. But
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I'm not saying that people should just like start coming over and hanging out. What I'm saying is I know internally for myself, it doesn't matter. Like that's not why I want to hang out with somebody because I can do that the next day or the next, like it's just.
yeah, but every guy says that. Every guy who is going to still try to coerce you or get in your pants or do exactly what he said he's not going to do says, "Oh, I just want to hang out. I just want to watch a movie. No pressure." I mean, there are a lot of people out there who are disingenuous or who do not represent themselves as they really are.
So
So it puts you at a disadvantage, kind of, if you are not that guy.
Or you're telling me that I'm lying to you and being manipulative to people.
No, I'm
not that
saying,
I'm mad at you for saying that. I'm saying maybe
I don't
maybe
think
you're right.
you
Maybe.
are. I don't think you are, but most women have had enough experiences. I don't know a single woman who has not been sexually assaulted in some way or harassed or coerced. Not a single woman. For me, I can't even count or on, two hands all the times it's happened or even remember them all. There's been so many, right? This is what life is like for us in a patriarchy. So that for people like you two who are maybe people with integrity, who are genuine and who are telling the truth, because there are so many people out there who are not, and we've had so many experiences with that, then we have to look at that through that filter in order to protect ourselves. And we have to make sure, right? We have to test you.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
obviously some people aren't doing that because they're sleeping with you on the first date. But you need to tell them what it means to you, because we all live in different realities. And in your reality, it means one thing. And in her reality, it means something totally different. And most people just assume that other people are like them. So they're going to assume it means the same thing to you.
All right. So, but my follow up to that, and the important sort of, for me at least, the important part of that conversation is, do I need to be upfront for my own sake or for them? Like, do I owe it to these people to be like, hey, by the way, I compartmentalize these different types of attraction, these different types of feelings. If you don't, maybe we shouldn't do this yet. Or am I just looking out for myself so I don't get myself in situations where I have to like tell somebody, we hung out 4 times. How are you this connected to me? Like, I didn't get that same feeling from you. And then it becomes like, they rib on you online and stuff like that.
Isn't it all one and the same though? If you want to get deep about it, everything that is in your best interest is also in their best interest and vice versa. If you're doing it for them, it's better for you because you're being a person with integrity, and also you're making the situation easier on yourself. And if you're being honest and communicating your authentic self and your true boundaries, it's better for them. And we're all one anyway, right? Separateness is illusion if you want to get spiritual about it. So
Yeah.
everything that you do for yourself or someone else, it all benefits everyone in the end.
By the way, when you use that line on somebody, the whole like we're already one, so you might. Is that manipulative?
No,
That's the
What? I
problem.
got that from you.
dude.
I got that
That's
from
your
you.
have you
problem.
actually? You have
We're all
not.
one anyway, so you might just come over. We might as well.
Hey, you are so contradictory of what you do
Oh,
versus
come
what you
on.
say.
I have multitudes.
You're
Can we
trying
take a
too
break?
hard. You're trying too
I'm not
hard.
trying. Trust me, I am not trying too hard. Trust me, I'm not trying to. Can we take a break and we'll come back and talk more about the stuff that Scott wants to do? We're gonna throw a little commercial in here or something. Is that cool? All right,
Yes,
we'll be
we
right
have
back.
2 minutes, so we have to start over.
Hey everyone, just a quick break. There's a lot more to talk about with Nicole. So instead of doing a little commercial and coming back with more, we decided to separate it into 2 different files. So there's part 1, which you just listened to, and now go to the next file for part 2, where we talk a lot about her practice, a lot about relationships and how you grow together, both spiritually, physically, emotionally, and things like that. There's a lot more in the next half of the interview, so I hope you check it out.